I've been married to my wife, Rachel, for 9 years. We have 2 kids, a beautiful house, and, by all accounts, a good life. On paper, everything looks great, but underneath it all, things had started to crumble for a long time before it all came crashing down. I'm not trying to justify what I did, but I want to explain the mess I got myself into, and how it all fell apart. I think the first time I noticed things weren't right was about 3 years ago. Rachel and I were drifting apart, and I knew it. Our conversations had gone from deep, meaningful talks to just surface-level chats about work, the kids, and the bills. I didn't know how to fix it, and honestly, I didn't know if I wanted to. I was comfortable, I guess, but we weren't close anymore. The intimacy had faded, and while I still loved her, it was just different. I was lonely, we were lonely together. Around that time, I met Julia. She was a friend of a friend, someone I met through work events. She was charming, funny, and honestly, a breath of fresh air. We hit it off right away. She didn't have any of the weight of years of marriage. She was carefree, spontaneous, and made me feel seen in a way I hadn't in a long time. At first, it was just innocent flirting, nothing serious, but the more we talked, the more I felt connected to her. We started texting more frequently. At first, I told myself it was just friendly banter, harmless stuff, but it quickly became clear it wasn't just friendly. The emotional connection between us grew fast, and then came the moment that changed everything. One evening, after a few too many drinks at a work party, Julia and I ended up alone. She kissed me, and I kissed her back. I knew what I was doing was wrong, but I didn't stop. I convinced myself that I needed something more in my life, that Rachel wasn't giving it to me anymore, and this would fill the void. I told myself I would never go any further. It would just be a one-time mistake. But one mistake turned into another, and soon, Julia and I were meeting up in hotels, texting constantly, and sneaking around behind Rachel's back. I knew I was lying, but I kept doing it. Every time I went home to Rachel, I felt guilty, but I also felt this constant pull toward Julia. It was exciting, but it was also a heavy weight I carried. Here's where things went from bad to worse. I never thought Rachel would ever find out. She's not the type to snoop, and I thought I had it all figured out. But Julia and I got careless. The texts, the phone calls, the random late nights out, everything started adding up. I didn't realize how much I was slipping until one night. It all came crashing down. It was a Saturday. Rachel had planned a family outing, but I had told her I was too tired from work and needed to catch up on some sleep. I'd texted Julia earlier, telling her I would meet her later that evening, but when Rachel came into the bedroom that afternoon, I realized too late that I'd left my phone unlocked on the bed. My heart sank when I saw her pick it up and glance at it. I'll never forget the look on her face. She didn't say anything at first. She just stood there, holding my phone, and then, she asked the question that I will never forget, "Who's Julia?" I froze. I was caught. I could feel the walls closing in. My throat went dry, and I didn't know what to say. I wanted to deny it. I wanted to lie, but I couldn't. The silence stretched on for what felt like forever, until Rachel spoke again. "Are you having an affair?" I didn't know what to say. I wanted to apologize, but the words didn't come out. I was stunned. How did she find out? How had it all unraveled like this? I tried to explain, tried to justify it, tried to say that it wasn't anything serious, that it was a mistake, but nothing I said made it better. Rachel was calm, too calm. Almost. She told me to leave the house. I don't think I've ever seen her that angry or that hurt. I could see the pain in her eyes, and it felt like my heart was being ripped out of my chest. She didn't yell. She didn't break down crying, at least not in front of me. Instead, she asked me to leave, told me she needed time to think, and I did. I packed a bag and left, but that was the hardest thing I've ever done. I knew I had broken her, and there was no coming back from that. I spent the next few days at a hotel, but I didn't feel comforted by Julia's texts or the idea of escaping into an affair. I just felt empty. Rachel wouldn't take my calls, wouldn't respond to my messages. I wasn't sure if she was even willing to talk to me again. I started to understand, for the first time, the weight of what I'd done. It's been a week since everything went down, and Rachel still hasn't spoken to me. I don't blame her. I don't deserve to be forgiven. I don't know where things go from here. I'm not proud of what I did, and I don't want to lose my family, but I'm scared. I've ruined everything. I don't know if Rachel will ever be able to trust me again, and I don't even know if I deserve a second chance. I've tried to reach out to Julia, but now I realize how much of my affair was based on the idea of escaping my problems, not actually solving them. Julia has been distant, too, almost like she knows things are over. It was never supposed to get this far. I didn't mean to hurt anyone. I just don't know where to go from here. I'm scared of losing everything. I've been having an affair with a woman from work for months, and my wife found out. I'm completely lost and don't know if I can fix this.